For centuries, the Roman Empire controlled the wealth of the Mediterranean world. Its armies marched across continents, its roads connected distant provinces, its markets stretched from Britain to Egypt. And behind all of that power stood something deceptively simple: a silver coin. For generations, that coin helped hold together one of the largest economic systems the ancient world had ever seen. Soldiers trusted it, merchants trusted it, tax collectors trusted it. The Roman denarius became one of the most reliable currencies in history. Until it wasn't. Because at the height of Roman power, emperors discovered something dangerous about money. If the state controls the mint, it controls the currency. And if it controls the currency, it can quietly change its value. The coin still carried the emperor's face, it still looked official, it still claimed the same value. But inside, something had changed. The silver was thinner, the weight was lighter, the value was weaker. At first, the difference seemed small, almost invisible. But small changes have a way of growing. Prices began to rise, wages struggled to keep up. Merchants grew suspicious, and slowly, people realized the truth. The money they depended on was no longer what it used to be. To understand how this happened, we need to go back to where it all began. Around 211 BCE, during the Second Punic War, Rome introduced the denarius, a silver coin, carefully measured, consistently pure. Each one contained about 4.5 grams of silver. And that consistency mattered, because in the ancient world, money wasn't just trust, it was metal. When people accepted a coin, they weren't trusting Rome, they were trusting the silver itself. For nearly 2 centuries, the system worked, trade flourished, taxes flowed, markets connected the empire. The denarius became a silent foundation of Roman power. But empires are expensive. Armies had to be paid, borders had to be defended, cities had to be built, and the costs kept growing. Then came a turning point. Under Emperor Nero, everything changed. To deal with rising expenses, Nero made a quiet decision. He reduced the silver content of the denarius. Not by much, just enough to go unnoticed. But that small decision changed everything. Because once a government realizes it can create more money this way, it rarely stops. Over the next century, emperors kept repeating the same trick: less silver, more coins, again and again and again. By the 3rd century, the crisis deepened. Political chaos spread across the empire. Emperors rose and fell. Civil wars erupted. Between 235 and 284 CE, more than 20 emperors claimed the throne. Most didn't last long. And through all of it, one thing remained constant: the army had to be paid. So emperors did the only thing they could do quickly: they made more money. In 215 CE, a new coin was introduced, the Antoninius. It was supposed to be worth 2 denarii, but it contained far less silver. The illusion had begun. Soon, coins became almost worthless. Some contained less than 5% silver. Others were just bronze coated in a thin silver layer. And people noticed. Merchants, soldiers, everyone. Prices began rising faster. More coins were needed for the same goods. Wages increased, but not fast enough. And that created a deadly cycle. More money, higher prices, demand for higher wages, even more money. Trust began to collapse. People stopped relying on coins. Some turned to gold, others returned to barter. The Roman economy was breaking. Then came one last desperate attempt. In 301 CE, Emperor Diocletian issued a massive decree. The Edict on Maximum Prices, a law to control inflation. It set limits on how much things could cost: food, clothing, labor, everything. But there was one problem. You can't control prices if the money itself is broken. Markets went underground, goods disappeared, trade slowed. The policy failed. Eventually, a new solution emerged. Under Emperor Constantine, a new coin was introduced, the solidus, made of gold, stable, trusted. And just like that, confidence slowly returned. But the damage had already been done. The denarius, once the backbone of Rome, was gone. Rome didn't collapse in a single moment. It weakened, slowly. And long before the Sukkot, its money had already begun to fail. Because in the end, money is not just metal, it's not just numbers, it's trust. And once that trust is broken, everything else begins to follow. History doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. And the moment money loses trust is often the moment the real crisis begins.